what you're seeing in China is just a very nascent phase of not just what they're doing economically, what they're doing within the country, but also what the equity markets so far are reflecting. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yes. So, and credit to you. We've been talking about China for years.
Yeah.
You were there early in highlighting this opportunity. We have followed since then. We've allocated a lot more capital to China over the last 2.5 years. Mm-hmm. That has served us well. And that continues. We continue to be overweight Chinese equities in our broader Pan-Asia portfolios. There's a lot to like about that market. Headline valuation multiples are still low. Now that's usually the last thing we look at, but they are still low. What we look at in judging the appeal of a security or a market, it's all bottom up. We're looking for earnings growth, large white spaces, credible management teams, clean balance sheets. We find that again and again and again in China.
And also the structural shift. I mean, what you're talking about China is also them getting back to the drawing board and completely rethinking their strategy.
Well, cars are a perfect example. The auto industry has been around for well over a century. And when you look at the systems in place for auto manufacturing in Europe and in Japan and in the US, they are on that old standard. The Chinese really wanted to dominate the world in ICE vehicles.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. Then what they realized, what we're sensing or seeing, we can see it in the facts, that they wanted to dominate in EVs, and they are.
BYD. Yeah.
Exactly. And so they approach it very differently from traditional auto manufacturing. They see it just like a cell phone, that this is a piece of tech-enabled hardware. We're going to iterate very quickly. We're going to drive costs down as low as we can, which they do in every sector, and we're going to ensure widespread adoption. It is a problem already for non-U.S. markets because of the import restrictions. It's not a problem yet for the local manufacturers here. I think politically it's very sensitive, of course. Yeah. But if the Chinese auto companies enter a market, they will take the lead pretty quickly, based on what we see.
Sure. Where else can you see China dominance? Because while China makes better perhaps, makes cheaper perhaps, they also make it for their own country. I mean, can we see an Apple or a Meta emerge out of China and, have global dominance in that sense?
If you look at the consumer products from Huawei and from Xiaomi, they're world leaders in what they're doing. Now, in some of this, there's still a little bit of the copycat stigma that people associate with Chinese products. But if you look at cars, gadgets, foldable laptops from Huawei, these are revolutionary products. They are different. It's not like some of the Western manufacturers where there seems to be not much change from year to year in the smartphone, aside from maybe the color. But in China, these are different form factors. The costs are much lower. The capabilities are much higher. So in consumer electronics, clearly, they're becoming more and more global. In consumer brands also, I'm not a big Labubu fan, but
nor am I actually.
I don't really get it, but I've seen fads, and this seems to be a little bit more than a fad. But that's another example of something that started in China, started in Asia, and has gone global. Gone global. Some of the retail chains, they're companies like Mixue, ice cream, Miniso, retailing. These you would not have seen in the West a decade ago, and you are now. They're global. I was in Georgia 2 months ago, and there's a Miniso shop in one of the malls.
Or Squid Games.
Yeah. So K-pop, the Korean wave K-pop, also. Yeah. So Asia, it's nice that rather than everybody in this side of the world consuming sports or Friends or Western media, now people are waking up to what's happening here. You log into one of your favorite streaming platforms and you see Hindu mythology everywhere now. Indian stories taking over. People in South America watching sacred games, as an example. So India's time will come also. There's infinite stories here to tell. Harder to see a consumer electronics brand here going global yet, based on what I see, but something will take off. Something will get caught up.